Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yasodhanandana Vrajajana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Gopijana Vallabha
Thank you, Ramapati Prabhu. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Pravikacharya Ashtratarsha Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramhamsa Pravikacharya Ashtratarsha Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopana Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuni Mai Ki Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaiṣṇava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Śrī Guru and Śrī Govardhana. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we'll be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, text 43, chapter 18. If you could repeat after me. Pratishrutam Didamiti Vachas Tan Na Misha Bhavit Vadam Narhati Chindro Api Tatridam Upakalpate Pratishrutam Dadamiti Vachastana Misha Bhavit Vadam Narhati Chidropi Tatridam Upakalpate Pratishrutam Dadamiti Vachastana Misha Bhavit Vadam Narhati Chindropi Tatridam Upalkapalkte Pratishrutam Dadamiti Vachastana Misha Bhavit Vadam Narhati Chindropi Tatridam Upalkalpate. Please chant.
Patishrutam dadamiti Vachastam namashabhavit Vadam narhati chindropi Tatredam upakalpate
Patishrutam dadamiti
Patishrutam dadamiti Vachastam namashabhavit
Anyone else? Synonyms. Pratishrutam, promised. Dadami, I shall give. Iti, thus. Vachaha, statement. Tat, that. Na, not. Misha, false. Bhavit, can be. Vadam, killing. Na, not. Arhati, is suitable. Cha, and. Indraha, Indra. Api, also. Tatra, in that connection. Idam, this. Upakalpate, is suitable. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada. I promise to give her a benediction, and this promise cannot be violated. But Indra does not deserve to be killed. In these circumstances, the solution I have is quite suitable. Purport. Kaśyapa Muni concluded, Diti is eager to have a son who can kill Indra. Since she is a woman, after all, is not very intelligent. I shall train her in such a way that instead of always thinking of how to kill Indra, she will become a Vaiṣṇava, a devotee of Krishna. If she agrees to follow the rules and regulations of the Vaiṣṇava principles, the unclean core of her heart will certainly be cleansed. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. This is the process of devotional service. Anyone can be purified by following the principles of devotional service in Krishna consciousness. For Krishna consciousness is so powerful that it can purify even the dirtiest class of men and transform them into the topmost Vaiṣṇavas. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu's movement aims at this purpose. Narottam Das Thakur says, Rajendra Nandana Ye Shachi Sutta Haile Se Balaram Nahila Nitai Dina Hina Yatachila Hari Name Udarilila Tare Shaksha Jagai Madai. The appearance of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu in this Kali-yuga is specially meant to deliver the fallen souls, who are always planning something for material enjoyment. He gave the people of this age the advantage of being able to chant the Hare Kṛṣṇa mantra, and thus become fully pure, free from all material contamination. Once one becomes a pure Vaiṣṇava, he transcends all material conceptions of life. Thus, Kaśyapa Muni tried to transform his wife into a Vaiṣṇavī, so that she might give up the idea of killing Indra. He wanted both her and her sons to be purified so that they would be fit to become pure Vaishnavas. Of course, sometimes a practitioner deviates from the Vaishnava principles, and there is a chance that he may fall down. But Kaśyapa Muni thought that even if one falls while practicing the Vaishnava principles, he is still not a loser. Even a fallen Vaishnava is eligible for better results, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even practicing the Vaishnava principles to a small extent, one can save one from the greatest danger of material existence. Thus, Kaśyapa Muni planned to instruct his wife, Diti, to become a Vaishnava, because he wanted to save the life of Indra. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Śrī Caitanya Mano Vishnam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamsha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hare Pre Vancha Kalpatri Bhischa Kripa Sindhi Evacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So once there's a story of the Himalayas. It was to give birth, and so the demigods, they were expecting some nice devotee. Do you guys know what came out?
Yeah.
What? a rat. So that's why I'm here on the Vyasa-san. You know, you guys were expecting His Holiness Badrinarayan Swami today to give a class, but here I am. So please tolerate me. So this verse and purport describes what the Hare Kṛṣṇa movement is all about. Here, Kaśyapa Muni, he wanted to convert his wife's desire to kill Indra, to have a son to kill Indra. And he wanted to purify both deity and his sons. So to transform the animalistic propensities of man to become Vaiṣṇavas. One of the places that we distribute is called Balboa Park. And after I was setting up my book table, there was a van, it passed by. It said, Homeless Outreach Program. And then it came to my mind, that's what we're doing, right? We're going out, we're trying to collect those that are willing to change the lost souls back to Krishna's lotus feet. And to put them in their constitutional position as an eternal servant of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada uses this example of a screw on a machine. When a screw falls out of the machine, it has no value, right? But if that screw is again connected to the machine, then it has purpose and value. So similarly, without Krishna, who are we and what is our value? So many people, living entities, they're out there just wandering. I met another man at the same place, Balboa Park, and he keeps going back and forth. I asked him, where are you going? He said, I don't know. I said, you're just wandering? He said, yeah. So the next time I saw him, I said, still wandering, huh? He said, yeah. So people, they don't want to, they have free will, and they don't want to go back to Krishna. And when we go around Sankirtan, that's what we do by book distribution, prasadam distribution, Harinam Sankirtan. And when we establish programs like Krishna Lounge, that's what we try to do. And so we try to give ways to give our association to people and to preach Krishna consciousness. So I'm not sure if any of you know, but I recently was traveling with Maharaj. We went to 3 places: Portland, Oregon, Boise, Idaho, and a little south of Seattle, Washington. And wherever we went, dressed like this, people were coming up to us. And when we were in this place called Winco Foods, we don't have it here. It's like a grocery store. And there's this devotee named Madhava Prabhu. He's from Bihar. And we went to get some mineral water for Maharaj. And we were dressed like this. And we were in the checkout line. And this man said, are you guys Hare Krishnas? And I looked at him and I said, of course we are. So he said, I remember you guys. I used to go to the LA temple to take some of the Sunday feasts. It was very good. So I was trying to give him a contact card or, the address to the Boise temple. And the lady that works there, he said, hey, no conversation, take it outside. So I couldn't give him a Krishna Lounge invitation, but there's people out there. So similarly, when we were also in Winco, it was this time Maharaj and myself. 4 people approached us, and they were asking, what are you guys about? Are you Buddhist monks? What Zen sect are you guys from? So Maharaj cleared up their doubts and their misconception. And then when we were trying to look for mineral water, this lady came up to us. And she said, are you Buddhist? So Maharaj was preaching to them. And then another man came and said, are you Buddhist? They asked the same question. So Maharaj said, no, we're Vaiṣṇavas, we're Hare Krishnas. So Maharaj was explaining the process of transmigration of the soul, karma, reincarnation. And they said, that makes sense. So after we got all of our items and we were in the checkout line, this man, he was behind us. And I saw him stuffing something behind his water bottles. And then he said, I'm sorry, I have chicken here. So he felt apologetic, you know. He said, I know you don't want to hear that, but, you know, he said, I can't get rid of this, this desire. So when we meet people, they have a change of heart some way or other, whether it's a small or a big increment. And when I was in Boise, I decided to go out on book distribution. I bought a little cart, a few invitations, and the students that I met, they were so nice. They were willing to ask questions, and they were eager to come to the Krishna Lounge. But unfortunately, the Boise temple, they are short-handed. They're lacking manpower. But the Boise temple, it's in a prime location. It's in the middle of the university, like campuses left, right, behind, in front, you know. So a very nice location. And when Maharaj was giving the Krishna Lounge talk, there was a young man, he was with his lady friend, and he was asking questions, kind of challenging. So Maharaj spoke in such a way that he understood, you know. And he explained the 4 regulative principles to him. No meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no intoxication. And he said, you know, I have a hard time following some of these, but I can understand the principle. So when we give this philosophy to others, they appreciate it. And so we should have good answers when people ask us questions. There was this man that I met yesterday. I asked him, do you believe in God? And he said, I don't know what I believe in. I don't know if there is God or not God. But he said, this material world, I know it's running by some intelligence. So I said, you're intelligent. So I showed him a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, how Krishna says that this material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, producing all moving and non-moving. And so under its rule, they manifest, it's created and annihilated again and again. And he said, that makes sense. And then he said something in the end. He said, I usually like to argue with the Christians, the Muslims. He said, but I can't find fault in your answers. So he said, how much for this book, the Bhagavad Gita? So I said, we just ask for a donation. You can give whatever you can. So he gave a nice donation, and he was on his way. And I called him over, and I said, here, you should get this book also, The Science of Self-Realization. So he said, what is this about? And then I asked him, who are you, and what's the purpose of life? And you see his face, someone has never asked him these questions. But these are the questions that a thoughtful human being should ask. Why am I here? Is there life after death? Why is there so much suffering? So he said, I want to get this book also. So he gave another donation. I was going to call him again, but I don't want to push my luck. So Lord Krishna, the Acharyas, our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, you can be assured that they're pleased with the service of book distribution. And in Vedic times, they would do fire sacrifices. They would put up old cow in the fire. They would chant mantras to see the potency. And then a human being would come out. So this animal, it was a promotion in the evolutionary process. So similarly, we're turning animals into proper human beings by giving them a chance to perform devotional service. Once Srila Prabhupada, he was writing to his disciples in Germany, and he was thanking them, appreciating them for their hard work trying to spread Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada, he says, to preach Krishna consciousness is very difficult, but a devotee, you should be pleased when difficulties come. And then Srila Prabhupada explained, because it forces him to think of Krishna. So difficulties are good in a devotee's life. And he said, we cannot expect everyone in Kali-yuga to welcome this preaching of Krishna consciousness. He said, it's just like a lunatic asylum. He said, the patients, they're running mad, right? And when the doctors come to give treatment, they say, I'm not crazy. And some of them, they even attack the doctors. So the devotees, sometimes they experience this. We are criticized, ridiculed, harassed, and sometimes physically attacked. But what do we do? Do we give up? Do we hang up our dhoti and kurta and binge on Netflix? You know, what do we do? You know, but a devotee, he tolerates that and he tries even harder, and that will please Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada, in that letter, he says, we cannot stand to see people suffering from ignorance. And what is that ignorance? They don't know that they're not their body. 99.9% of the people, they misidentify with their body. So this Krishna consciousness movement is meant to deliver people to the proper understanding that they are not their body, but they are pure spirit soul. When I first read that, I was so blown away. No one has ever told me that I'm not the body, but I'm the soul. So when Srila Prabhupada writes that in his books, it makes a big impact. And so we may or may not be appreciated. That's not our concern, but we should execute the orders of Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu. And this is real compassion, to go out of our way, out of our busy lives, to speak to people. And I'm not a very good speaker, but when I talk to people, I try to present the philosophy in such a way where they appreciate it, at least appreciate it. And therefore, we give respects to the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatriyubhyascha kripasindubhyevacha patitanam pavinebhyo Vaiṣṇavyo namo namaha. Bhakti Tyler, can you say the translation in the mic, please? When we offer our vanchas, what does that mean?
We offer our respectful obeisances. Wait.
To all the
Vaiṣṇava devotees of the world who, just like desire trees, can fulfill the desires of everyone and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls.
Full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. That's what we do when we see each other. We offer our respects. And the success of our work depends on, is Krishna pleased? Is Srila Prabhupada pleased? Is our spiritual master pleased with my service? So that should be the mood. And sometimes devotees, they say, oh, I'm having a hard time, right? My mind, my this, that. But when you observe Srila Prabhupada, what did he go through, right? Coming on this cargo boat, not even a passenger boat. He suffered 2 heart attacks. I don't know how many days it took for him to come to the U.S. Do you know Vijay Prabhu? 35 days on this cargo ship. He was throwing up. He had seasickness. But did he want to go back? No, he stayed. You know, he knew this is the most important work to be done. And after that's all said and done, what is the result? Right? There's devotees all over the world, all over the world. When I was traveling with Maharaj also last year, we were visiting Singapore, Burma. There's devotees there, like sincere devotees, more sincere than myself. And I was thinking how incredible Srila Prabhupada's gift is to the world. So we should never be discouraged. We are doing the best welfare work for the society, and to give whoever a chance to go back to Krishna's lotus feet and to go back home, back to Godhead. So, in the purport, it talks about how we try to approach Jaggais and Madhais. Who gave the class about that? Vijay Prabhu? Balaram? Someone gave a talk about, if you want the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, you have to approach the Jaggais and Madhais. Right? 99% of the people are compared to Jaggai and Madhais. And so we should be assured that there's no direct way to preach than to distribute Krishna conscious books. And then Srila Prabhupada, he says, whoever gets a book is benefited. Whoever reads the book is benefited. If he doesn't read the book and he gives the book to others, that person benefits. If they don't read the book, if they touch the book, if they see the book, he's benefited. And he said, anyone who distributes these transcendental literatures, he also benefits. Therefore, Sankirtan is the prime benediction for the age. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Kalau Nast Eva, Nast Eva, Nast Eva Gatiranyata. So I'll say a few Sankirtan stories. I met this young lady at La Jolla Cove, and she gave me a donation just out of nowhere. I said, "What is this for?" And then she said, "I was homeless for 7 years, and the devotees, the Hare Kṛṣṇa temple, they were so nice to me. They gave me food and they didn't judge me." So she appreciated the devotees. And there was this person in Balboa Park. He works there. His name is Eddie, Bhakti Eddie. I gave him my contact, and I said, "If you have any questions, if you want to reach out, please don't hesitate." So a few days later, he gave me a text. And what is that text? It was about chanting japa, like that. And he said, "Is it okay if I order the japa beads on Amazon?" I said, "If that's the best you can do, you can." And I invited him to the temple. I said, "We also have japa beads here." And so he was asking me, how do I chant properly? So I gave him a link, how to chant properly by devotees. And then he texted me later, and he said, "Thank you for introducing this chanting." He said, "Whenever I feel overwhelmed at work, I just grab my beads and I start chanting." Right? Because by chanting, it pacifies the mind. There was this young boy, he was 14 years old. He wanted a book, he didn't have cash. You know what he pulled out? A credit card. A 14-year-old with a credit card. I said, "Where did you get this?" He said, "It's my father's, but I want to get these books to give to my father." So I was thinking this is a proper use of our facilities, Like Krishna, Krishna owns everything. So whatever facility we have, we should use it for Krishna's service. So this little boy, he was so happy. After he gave me the credit card, I charged him. I gave him the books, and then he was hugging the book like this. And he was kind of skipping, He wanted to do something for his father. So similarly, we should do service for Krishna, not just ask and ask and ask from Krishna. In Balboa Park, I asked people, "What do you do for work?" Their occupation, so I can relate to them. There was this Mataji, she was a teacher. So not in a challenging way, but she said, "Can you summarize what these books are about?" Whether she wants to take it or not. So there were many ways I could have answered that. So I said, well, there's 3 teachings. I said, besides one's own wife, we should see every woman as a mother. And I said, when you see people's belonging on the street, you treat it like trash. You don't take it. It doesn't belong to you. And then I said, when you see people suffering, you feel their pain. And when you see them joyful, you feel happy. She said, that is very nice. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we give these teachings to everyone? So she asked how much for the books. And I said, you can give whatever you can. She reached out and she gave $100. Yeah. So people, they appreciate what the devotees are doing. And then she said, thank you for being out here. We need more people like you. So don't be discouraged to go out on Sankirtan, to go out on book distribution. Balaram Prabhu, he's a nice example. Whenever we go biking, he would always have small books with them. Invitations, that's Balaram Prabhu. And so I like this saying, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. And I like to recall what I used to be before Krishna consciousness. Where would I have been? Where would my life end up? And so if it wasn't for the merciful devotees that reached out to me, I wouldn't be in this position, dressing the deities, serving the devotees, trying to distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. It was a straight downhill leading to a meaningless life. So we should remember the transformation that Srila Prabhupada added to our life. And we can also help others become Krishna consciousness, and then their future will be very bright. Okay, that's all I have. Is there any questions and comments, corrections, chastisement? Okay. Yes, we'll take Bhakti Joseph first.
Hey, the last sentence was, every saint has a past and every crook has a future.
Every sinner has a future.
Every sinner. How do they have a future?
Well, we could think about the bad habits that we used to have, right? Indulging in, I can't even name it in this Vyasa-san, you know. But now we're following the four regulative principles. We're chanting Hare Kṛṣṇa. You know, there was a man that was speaking to His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami, and he was talking about this bogus yogi, how he manifested miracles, ashes, you know, murtis of Lord Ganesh and Lord Shiva. So Tamal Krishna Goswami said, you believe this person to be God just because he manifested some ashes. And then he said, well, what about Srila Prabhupada that transformed the West into Vaiṣṇavas? The devotees, they're even practicing and following the principles even more than those in India. So that's a real miracle. Does that answer your question, Joseph?
Yes.
Okay. Bhakti Avatar Prabhu, did you have some?
Thank you for the beautiful, informative class.
Oh, Lord Srila Prabhupada.
Oh, Srila Prabhupada. You had mentioned so many wonderful pastimes on Sankirtan, and those of us who have been going out for quite some time, I think we can all say that there are so many ripe fruits out there that it makes no sense for devotees not to go out and meet people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I meet so many people all the time that just, they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
And they really take to Krishna consciousness. And we can spread Krishna consciousness wherever we go. We go to the store, we can be like walking around the store singing Hare Kṛṣṇa so everyone can hear.
Mm-hmm.
It, you know, states in the Srimad Namamrita that anyone that hears the holy name even one time gets so purified they don't have to suffer the reaction for all their past sinful activity. And that repeated hearing, you lose the tendency to commit sinful activity and develop pure love for God.
Mm-hmm.
So just in people in general hearing the holy name, they get so much benefit. And you know, we don't have to say, oh, you know, we can only go on Sankirtan, you know, this time or that time. We can be on Sankirtan all the time, everywhere we go, just by singing the holy names for people to hear. And like you say, they hear the holy name or see you dressed in Vaiṣṇava clothing. They're curious and they're impressed, and they ask you nice questions, give you chance to preach Krishna consciousness and distribute books, no matter where you are. That's such a great idea. Like you're saying, Balarama, we're going for a bike ride. Okay, I'll take some books with us. While we run into some nice people. So, thank you for that beautiful class. I really appreciated it. Thank you.
We're going on a bike ride, going to Sunset Cliffs, where the devotees jump off and dive into the water. And on our way there was a young man. He had a vegan stand selling cookies. You know what was in his hand?
Cigarette.
Do you remember, Balaram?
Hamburger.
It was a Bhagavad Gita, as it is, by Srila Prabhupada. I turned around and I said, how did you get that book? And so I got it at a used bookstore. So it was just so random, you know. Like, what is this guy doing with the book, you know? So anyway, so we should always try to give our association and Srila Prabhupada's books to anyone and whoever we meet. Okay, thank you for your time and attention.
Hare Krishna?
Yes, Vijay Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Govardhan Prabhu, I have a question. Do you mind reciting again the first sentence of the purport?
Sure, give me a few seconds.
Of course, Prabhu, take your time.
The first sentence or the last sentence?
The first sentence of the purport.
Kaśyapa Muni concluded, Diti is eager to have a son who can kill Indra, since she is a woman after all, and is not very intelligent. I shall train her.
Yes,
Okay.
that is the quote. Thank you very much. You're most kind. Dandavat pranams. Prabhu, imagine that, based on this quote, on this sentence, imagine that I am in the body of a woman, and that I am not a devotee.
Okay.
But still, I see that you, Govardhan Prabhu, is distributing books. So I approach you and to say to you the following, you are a Hare Kṛṣṇa, you're distributing the message through the distribution of books. So I would like to know, and I did hear that the Hare Kṛṣṇas think that women are not very intelligent. So I'm here to ask you, why do the Hare Kṛṣṇas think that women are not very intelligent? What would be your answer?
Okay. So the first thing I would tell her is that you're not the body, and then that you're the soul within the body. And I'll tell her that's our teaching. So just like someone, she was a transgender. She said, how do you feel about LBTG, whatever? And I said, well, people are confused. They don't know who they are. And they identify, I'm a man, I'm a woman. And I told her, him, or whatever. I said, you're the soul within them. I said, you're the soul within the body. And she kind of took that in and she said, I like that, you know. So not to identify with the body, because we're so attached to our bodies. You know, we're attached to our ideas, our intelligence, but we should give that up. But if I was on Sankirtan, I would answer that ladies, they have a tendency to be emotional, and so sometimes being emotional that you don't make the right choices in life. So I would kind of ease her into understanding that, and then I can present the books and say, no one is restricted from reading our books, and anyone can benefit. Like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, you know, like we were discussing, whether you're a woman, you know, a Shudra, whatever, you can still take up this process of Krishna consciousness and go back home, back to Godhead. Dravida Prabhu, do you have anything to add?
Yes. I'm going to read some famous quotes from the Kali-yuga.
Yes.
Chapter 7, text 31, 32. I just take the... okay. So Prabhupada, he's referring, I think, to some of his godbrothers who criticized the establishment of a brahmacharini ashram and things like that. Sometimes jealous persons criticize the Krishna consciousness movement because it engages equally both boys and girls in distributing love of Godhead. Not knowing that boys and girls in countries like Europe and America mix very freely, these fools and rascals criticize the boys and girls in Krishna consciousness for intermingling. But these rascals should consider that one cannot suddenly change a community's social customs. However, since both the boys and girls are being trained to become preachers, those girls are not ordinary girls, but are as good as their brothers who are preaching Krishna consciousness. Therefore, to engage both boys and girls in fully transcendental activities is a policy intended to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. So the point is that by the taking birth in a body that's female, human female, you have certain capacities, certain tendencies. And if you take the male, then you'll have a different capacity. So the tendency is that the women are, of course, made and designed for propagation, for taking care of the children. Otherwise, the whole society, the world would go to end. So that's the tendency. But once you are in a transcendental position and you're acting in Krishna consciousness, then Prabhupada says here that of course we still have to meet all the etiquettes and everything. But he empowered so many of his ladies. I'm thinking, we mentioned Yamuna, I think the other day, who is so empowered. Vishaka, who was on all the morning walks taking her pictures. Many of the photos we have of Prabhupada were taken by Vishaka. Yadava was taking the moving pictures mostly. But she would write articles for BTG, Prabhupada would read them and improve and so forth. So it's false to think that there's a discrimination within the society of course everyone has their roles, I'm not saying. But especially, I'll tell you an experience. I had recently, just the last few days, I had Giriraj Swami as my guest, which was a great boon for me. And I didn't know this, but this lady named Kaushalya, who's one of the early devotees who went to India in 1970, and wonderful singer, Hare Kṛṣṇa, and she lives nearby. He lives in the San Diego area. He knew that. He invited her, and she came up. And they had a nice long talk there. So she mentioned that, in ISKCON, sometimes there was some discrimination. She felt that she didn't feel so comfortable in those early days. But I told her that in the United States, there are maybe half a dozen temples that are led by women. We have, of course, Sandamani in Tucson, Hemangi in Chicago, Ananda Vrindavaneshwari in Washington or Potomac. I spent a little time there. She's the daughter of a general or somebody, high up, a colonel or something, and she runs that place like a. And of course, there's Mukhya in Alatra, who's doing a tremendous job. They had the Krishna Balaram deities there in the Dham for years and years, 12 years, and they couldn't figure out how to install them. They had the beautiful Radha Krishna deities and so forth. She became the president years ago, and she organized building a whole new building behind the temple where just the kitchen is. It's huge. You can see they could cook huge feasts there. And therefore, they could move that cooking paraphernalia out of the main building and made room, and then they were able to install those incredible Krishna Balaram deities. So what I'm saying is that the basic point is you can transcend the limitations of what you're born with, of so much conditioning, when you practice Krishna consciousness, and Krishna empowers you, and that's true of men and women and even children sometimes. So that's one of the things to take into account. And this is a famous quote: "These girls are the same as good as the boys, because they're also preaching and they're giving out books and things."
Is that okay, Vijay Krishna Prabhu?
Yes, better than okay, yes, to be expected. Very helpful. Outstanding, again, answers to my question by you and by Dravida Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Before you go, Vijay Krishna, I would like to hear what you would say to this lady that would approach you on book distribution. What would you say to her?
We said, the Hare Krishna say that women are not very intelligent because, like Dravida Prabhu just said, because their bodies are not very intelligent, because they're programmed in the physical sense for activities which are directed towards yes, like procreation, the propagation of the species, the human form of life. So, very easily a woman can become distracted from focusing on transcendental, on the theory and the practice of transcendence. But if she chooses, although in a female body, to focus on not procreating and activities of the sort, then if she's intelligent in, I think I would say to her that the female intelligence is not incapable of, if it becomes focused on transcendence, to make progress and to change from being less intelligent to becoming most intelligent. And Dravida Prabhu just mentioned that because of becoming devotees and accepting the observance of the rules and the regulations and the practice of the process of bhakti, we have now, for example, Mother Vishaka. She is the head of the Hare Kṛṣṇa movement in Europe, because she became the temple president of Bhaktivedanta Manor, the house given to the Hare Kṛṣṇa movement by George Harrison. And the community of devotees is not different from spectacular in all the devotional senses. We can feel it. You connect yourself with the channel, Mayapur TV channel, Bhaktivedanta Manor, in the morning, and that is what I do. I do my sadhana in harmony with them, and we can see the discipline, the cleanliness, the punctuality, the orators, the speakers on Bhagavatam. And when Mother Vishaka speaks, everyone stops. Even the flies and the microbes in the air, they become stunned because of the quality of her speech. It's not difficult, if you have at least a little intelligence, to feel that when you are in the presence of excellence.
Thank you,
Vijay. For example, Dravida Prabhu, when he speaks on Srimad Bhagavatam, you stop and listen because you feel that you are in the presence of excellence. Mother Vishaka in the same way. So I don't think that the female body has less intelligence, in the sense that not having enough intelligence, in the case that the female decides and becomes determined to focus on the practices offered by the bhakti process. And that is what Mother Vishaka did, and Yamuna, they did it. And Mother Yamuna, she got a prize because of her cookbook. International prize. It was not an ordinary prize. So these women, they became stalwart Vaiṣṇavas of our days, and they gave enough, so much spiritual pleasure to their spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So they're examples to be followed. So I would say to this lady, if you want to focus on the practice of transcendence, it's up to you. And if you do it, and I do think that your question is very intelligent. You're asking me, why is it that the Hare Krishna think that women are less intelligent? That is a very intelligent question. And you can go further. After getting the answer, you can focus, change, mold your life in such a way that you could use your female intelligence, which is not female, it is spiritual, to focus, because the process of bhakti doesn't discriminate between male intelligence or
listen.
intelligence.
Hello? Hello, Vijay. Thank you for your wonderful and thorough answer. But it's very late here. It's almost 9 p.m. already.
Take, breakfast prasadam.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, Vijay.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Oh, Vijay Krishna Prabhu. That was a breathtaking answer. I'll
If you
go
say
to
so,
Śrīla Prabhupada.
you're most kind.